My Adventures with Superman is a fantastic show. I've been full of praise for it so far, but I have to say, episode 5 was a big step down in quality, and I've got to be honest here, in a season that only has 10 episodes to work with, I really hope the quality of episodes going forward are more in line with the quality of the first 4 episodes, instead of this one. I'll start off with the good. In my last video, I heaped praise on this show's version of Jimmy Olsen, and I expressed that I hope for this show to give him more depth instead of making him a two-dimensional comedic relief character. This episode was perfect in that regard. The B story with Jimmy Olsen and Steve Lombard spending time together, while Jimmy increasingly starts to doubt the strength of his friendship with Clark and Lois, was quite well done. These two characters surprisingly bounced off of each other really well, and the humor in the moments between them worked well too. They managed to add more depth to a character I didn't expect them to care much for, and they're continuing Jimmy down a really interesting character arc. Seeing Jimmy Olsen grapple with feelings of doubt and insecurity makes for some good character development. The main plot of this episode involves both Lois and Clark. Lois is trying to get Clark to admit that he's Superman, and Superman is still trying to balance hiding his identity and saving as many people in Metropolis as he possibly can. It needs to be said again, but this show really understands Superman, and I love the characterization of this Clark. He's passionate about doing good as a reporter, and he's passionate about doing good as Superman. I really love that. I also love the characterization of this show's Lois. Like Clark, she isn't perfect, but she's trying her best. She clearly has some personal trauma that she's working with, and I think this will be delved into more as the show goes on. At least I hope it is. Lois has already mentioned the strained relationship with her father, and we are introduced to this character who is most likely her father, General Lane. So there will no doubt be more exploration and explanation of Lois's relationships and her past, and more context behind why she's so zealous about finding the truth, and why she's so passionately against being lied to. She's a very endearing character, but having said that, this episode could have done better with her story. The whole Lois handcuffing herself to Superman thing was annoying for a few reasons. The first being that it was a dumb idea to begin with, and it was even dumber for Superman to endanger Lois and fight while cuffed to her, when he easily could have just not done that. The second reason being that the animators seemingly forgot midway through the scene that they were meant to be handcuffed to each other. I mean, these types of mistakes can happen, and I'm fully aware that I sound like the magic xylophone guy from The Simpsons right now.
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
It just wasn't that good of a scene to me, especially given the quality of the prior 4 episodes. Then we get to the climax of the episode, and I had some issues with it. Lois jumps off a building to force Clark to reveal himself to her, and then gets mad when he gets caught out in his lie. It's an understandable reaction, to be honest, but this trope is so boring and lazy. The thing is, Lois is perfectly validated in her reaction. The prior episodes make it a point to stress that she hates being lied to. Lois stresses this herself to Clark, so to then be lied to by him mustn't feel good at all, and I suspect the future episodes will further contextualize how both characters reacted in this moment. My gripe here isn't the behavior of the characters in this moment, it's the choice to include this moment in the show at all. It feels way too early in their relationship for this moment to happen. It feels way too lazy to wheel out this trope and write it in the most generic way possible. Right now, my feeling is that they pulled the trigger too early on the Lois finds out Clark is Superman story, and if it was this early, they should have done it differently, not in this cliched manner. I didn't even touch on Deathstroke and his dynamic with Waller and General Lane. This show continues to do a great job of giving us insight into group dynamics without wasting too much time. The very little dialogue we had between General Lane and Amanda Waller told us all we need to know about their working relationship, their personalities and motives. I have high hopes for this show. I think it's been great so far. And even this episode that I had a number of issues with still maintained the charm that I adore about it. I just sincerely hope this is the weakest the show will be.
Let me ask you a question. Why would a man whose shirt says genius at work spend all of his time watching a children's cartoon show?
I withdraw my question.